Yeah. Yeah.
Because of the, with the doc up in front of them.
Yeah. Hello, everyone.
Nope, we can't see video.
Oh, because you got all this stuff out for cleaning. Yeah, just move whatever you want.
Like we have lots of people joining, so we're going to give another minute or so to let people get logged on, and then we'll get started. But thanks for joining us for the orientation this afternoon.
Oh, Sarah Miranda's here.
Pull this in half.
Well, we're waiting to get started. My colleague Sarah Lundy is putting the document that was also sent out to you on Monday, but just sort of some institute logistics that we're going to walk through here today. It's going to be in the chat, and then we'll also screen share that in a second. Looks like it's slowing down on the additions to the Zoom, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. And my name is Dan Blake. I'm one of the co-directors for Disrupt 2020, along with Sarah Lundy, who you'll meet in just a second. And we are very excited to have you all joining us over the next couple of days. Very new way of conducting the Institute for us. So we hope that we can keep the technical glitches to a minimum, but we're working behind the scenes to do everything we can to make things run as smoothly as possible. I am going to quickly ask that if people can Zoom, can mute their audio. I have some background noise coming through from some of the sites. All right. So I want to start by just pointing you. Looks like we still have some unmuted phones there. We can get. There we go. I want to point you to a few key links. These are going to be your go-to links over the next couple of days. The first is the event website, 2020summerinstitute.org. I'm going to ask, is that Tricia? Is that your phone that I'm hearing there? It looks like it's not muted, maybe. Okay. Well, we'll make do until they realize. So 2020summerinstitute.org is the overall event site. There are, and within that, a couple of other links that you can go to. One is the Institute schedule. One is the Institute schedule that you can look at, and that is a sketch.app. You should have received that link yesterday. I know a few people were having some issues with setting up accounts there, so you could access that. As is the case with any technical questions that come up over the next couple of days, we're going to ask you to contact Stacy Post-Sheffer in our office at spost@sco.org, and she can help navigate those types of questions. If you would prefer, we also sent the schedule in a list version. So it's got the same information, the descriptions, and the links and the resource folders, all of that. And that's there at bit.ly/sco disrupt list. So you can see that there on the document as well. And then finally, at the last link that I'll point to before I turn it over to Sarah is, we know that we're going to throw a lot at you. We have some great range of presentations for you to see over the next couple of days, over 50 sessions, and there's going to be a lot to take in. So we know you're going to probably want additional support and folks to work with beyond the Institute. So that follow-up form, or that link to that follow-up form there, is an opportunity for you to request follow-up support from our team here in the Ed Services Department at SCO. All of these are available on the website, but we also wanted to make them available on this single document so you could come back to that. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sarah to talk a little bit about the sessions.
All right. So when you guys have a chance to get onto the website or get onto our schedule, you'll notice that there's color coding, and the color coding is denoting the different strands of sessions that we're offering. And so these are strands that we know are the biggest needs that surfaced in the spring when we transitioned so rapidly to distance learning. Lots on instructional design and delivery, the pedagogy and the design that really leads to learning and student engagement, whether we're in a distance learning environment or a hybrid or an in-person. Also, lots of sessions around offering social emotional support, mental health and well-being to students, and really for adults too, to keep ourselves healthy, to be able to create conditions where students are safe and can learn. Lots of sessions focused around ensuring equity is being addressed, so all learners' needs are being met, as well as strands around project-based learning. One example of instruction that lends itself well to hybrid and distance and in-person environments. There'll also be opportunities to have conversations with grade level colleagues, and we've set up a teacher's lounge, kind of a virtual space for people to drop in informally anytime over the 2 days of the Institute to have conversations with other teachers or other educators about what's on your mind, what you're learning, what you're thinking about, what you're wondering. So you'll notice some different tags and as well as the color coding and the labels on each session, in addition to these longer descriptions that you'll get by clicking on the sessions, that will help you kind of build your own schedule. And that's really the point. The point is that over the next 2 days, you are in the driver's seat. You get to have choice about how you want to build your schedule. During every block of time, we're offering between 4 and 6 different options to choose from. We're also making sure that some of those Institute sessions that we know there'll be high demand for are offered multiple times over 2 days. Most of the sessions will be recorded, and all of the sessions have a resource folder linked with them where additional resources will be available. So in the event that you're not able to join a session, we'll still make sure that you can get access either to the facilitator and the presenter and to the resources associated with that session. So it's all about choosing a schedule that works for you, and also making sure that you take care of yourself. We know that being on Zoom between 8:30 and 3 is not a recipe for quality learning conditions. So make sure that you choose a learning schedule that meets your needs, and that also you balance the other parts of your life that are ongoing over the next 2 days. And Dan, I'll turn it over to you to talk a little bit about recordings.
Yeah, so Sarah mentioned that the sessions would be recorded. There will be a few exceptions to that, and when that's the case, it'll be noted in the schedule. There were some sessions where presenters felt either the format didn't lend itself to a recording. It was more of a conversational type of a session, or the subject matter itself wasn't something that they felt comfortable just recording and putting out on a video without having the context of the live interaction. So most sessions will be recorded, however, and afterwards, there'll be a couple different ways you'll be able to access those. One, we are creating a YouTube, or we have created a YouTube channel that we'll post all of those to, so you'll be able to see them all there. And if you look at the version of the schedule that is the list version, you'll also note that there's a placeholder on there right now that says video link. So after the Institute ends, and hopefully by the end of the day Friday, we will have posted those links onto that document as well. So you'll be able to go back to your session list and watch videos of sessions that you didn't see before, or rewatch something that you did attend. So we're going to try as best as possible to have those up by the end of the week. Because we're recording, we just want to indicate that your image, if you have your video, if you have your camera on, will be shown on those recordings, and they will be posted on the internet. So if you don't want to be in the recording, you'll need to either leave your video off, as some of you are doing on the orientation here, or you can have the option of joining sessions by phone, and we've put a call-in number and meeting ID for each session as well, if you choose to join them that way. You want to talk about the next?
There are a handful of sessions that have a maximum capacity limit for people joining. This is really the exception rather than the rule. The vast majority of the sessions don't. For each of those sessions, they're also being offered multiple times. So hopefully you'll have the opportunity to be able to attend, but there is not a way to be able to sign up for those sessions in advance. I think the real key, and this is true for all the sessions, is just being able to start on time. So for the sessions that don't have a limit to it too, we're asking everyone to observe that norm of starting and ending on time. We also know life is going to happen. And so in the event that you need to join a session a few minutes after it has started, we would just ask as a courtesy to the facilitators and to the other participants that you don't join more than 15 minutes after the scheduled start time. Also, the ending on time is going to be pretty key to make sure that facilitators can offer a session for an additional time block. And then in case that you want to be able to continue learning, that's when we want to make sure that you have access to other ways to be able to get the information, and you can let our team know what kind of follow-up support you need. So Dan, do you want to talk more about how they can access support after a session has ended?
Sure. Yeah, and to that same point, before I jump to that, of jumping into another session after it started, we also know that there'll be times you'll choose a session to attend, and once you get there, you'll maybe realize it wasn't the right fit for you and it's not meeting your needs. Certainly, if you discover that right away and you decide to jump out of there and go to another session, we understand that. But again, we just ask that you do that within the first 15 minutes of any session. After that point, we would ask that if you wanted to drop out of a session, that's fine, but we would ask that you not join another session during that block of time. Just give yourself a little break there. If you are at the end of a session and you're still wanting to engage with other folks that are attendees or with the presenters, maybe there's questions that you have that haven't been answered yet. We have set up a couple of virtual drop-in spaces, and Sarah mentioned these a minute ago, these teacher lounges. One is the teacher's lounge and one is the overflow teacher's lounge. And those are very informal meeting spaces. They will be open all day on Wednesday and all day on Thursday. You can drop in and out of those at any time. But if you're in a conversation with a presenter or with another attendee in a session and it needs to end, that's one way that you can connect afterwards. You can say, hey, do you want to meet over in the teacher's lounge? And you can continue the conversation there. Obviously, you can also connect directly on your own outside of the our virtual environment here, but that's one way within the conference that you would be able to do that. And then Sarah also mentioned the Google folder with the resources there, so that's linked there. That's on both versions of the schedule. You'll see those resources all available to you.
If you are experiencing any technical difficulties, you're having trouble accessing the schedule, you're having trouble with Zoom, which is the platform that we're running each of these Institute workshop sessions on, please don't hesitate to contact our help desk. It's our colleague, Stacy Post-Sheffer. She's amazing. And if you email her, she will quickly triage your request or your difficulty to the right point person, and we'll get it resolved so that you can continue to engage in learning. So that's your go-to. And the other go-to, which I know Dan listed at the beginning, and you guys have it in your chat, and you've got it at the top of this document, is the Institute website itself. Not only does it have links to the schedule, but it's got link to Stacy's help desk and also follow-up support so that you can let us know, hey, this was a great session. I want to know more. I want to connect with this presenter. I want my colleagues to hear about this subject. And that follow-up support button that's linked on the SCO Disrupt 2020 Summer Institute website is a place for you to be able to say, hey, I want more learning when you're done with the session.
Sorry about the survey. So as far as getting feedback from you on the Institute, rather than inundate you with a survey every time you attend a session, we do not want to do that. We're going to send a single survey at midday on Thursday, and we really ask that you take just a few minutes. We're keeping it nice and short, but we really ask that you take a few minutes to give us your feedback. This is, as is the case with all of you as you embark on distance learning in 2021 here. This is a new form of professional development for us. And so the more feedback we can get from you about what worked, what didn't work, suggestions, you name it, will be really helpful to us so that we can continue to improve our ability to provide support in this way. So you can keep an eye out for that. It will get emailed directly to you at midday on Thursday.
So we want to talk a little bit about the stipend procedures, and the way that the stipend will work this year is a little different than it has been in past summer institutes, because this is a very different institute and we're at a very different moment in K-12 education than we've ever found ourselves before. The stipend, for those of you who were able to register by the registration deadline of July 1st, is $500, and it's really available not for attending the conference, which we want to make as flexible and open to you over the next couple of days, but instead it's for follow-up implementation work. So the stipend guidelines are linked on this orientation document that you see in front of you on the screen. It's also on the Institute website, and that walks through different options that you have for pursuing either as an individual classroom teacher or with a group of colleagues for implementation work after the Institute. For those of you who were late to registration, we are still working very hard to make sure that we have additional funding available. So if you'd like to pursue the stipend option, please indicate that at the end of the Institute for us. We'll do everything we can to make that possible for people who join the Institute later than that July 1st deadline. And we are available over the course of the Institute and certainly following the Institute to talk about stipend options and to offer any support that we can with that implementation and documentation during the school year.
So those were the primary topics that we wanted. We know that you may have questions about those or other items. So two ways you can ask questions. One is just to shout them out here on the Zoom. Also, it's a simple way to do it is just to put them right in the chat. So if you have any pressing questions that you'd like us to answer, please let us know. Mm-hmm.
Dan and I are going to wait here for a moment. And while we're waiting to see if we have any questions from people, we'll put both the Institute website, which I just put into the chat, as well as the stipend guidelines.
If you don't have any questions at this point, then we'll let you go on your way. We look forward to seeing you in about 45 minutes, about 40 minutes for our kickoff session with Ted Dintersmith. Very excited to be able to join in conversation with him. Otherwise, if you do want to stick around and ask any questions, we'll hang out for a little bit. But thank you for spending a little bit of time with us, and we look forward to being with you for the Institute, at least virtually, over the next couple of days. We have a couple coming in, okay. For recorded sessions, we're open to view. Yeah, so two places. One will be a YouTube channel that we will put onto the SCO website. And then also on the list version of the schedule, each of the links to the recorded session, assuming it's a session that is being recorded, will be put right onto that document. So you can, you'll be able to, after the Institute, and as I said, hopefully by the end of the day, Friday, we would have all of those posted. Did I miss any others?
If you mute, I can answer. So I put the orientation document that we had screen shared back into the chat. So it's a couple different places in the chat for you to be able to access. I also saw a question about the different themes or the different strands that we're offering during the Institute. So those are on the schedule. You'll be able to see them, and there's some description surrounding them. But the big themes are instructional design and delivery. You'll see purple sessions associated with instructional design and delivery. We have yellow sessions associated with social emotional support for students, as well as mental health and well-being for students and for adults working with students. We have green sessions that denote a session focused on ensuring equity, making sure that all students have their needs met. Then we have orange sessions, and those denote different conversations with colleagues. Many of those are grade level meetups. So early elementary, middle school, or high school meetups, or an opportunity to come together with other teachers in those grade spans and have some informal conversations about what you're working on, what you're thinking, and do some problem solving and collaboration with one another. There are also orange sessions denoting the kind of informal meetup or teacher lounge hangout that Dan and I both spoke to. And that's just always open. It's a virtual space for teachers to be able to drop in and see who else is there and engage in a conversation with colleagues about what you're thinking about, what you're worried about, what you're working on. We also have a question here about if it's possible to join a session next week during the August 5th and 6th Institute if you miss something. And perhaps fortunately or unfortunately, we don't have exactly the same schedules, just some different presenters and facilitators availability. We do have the same content, so the same ideas are being addressed both weeks. Many sessions repeat next week, but not all of them repeat. So your best bet, if you have to miss a session because of your other obligations outside of the Institute or because it conflicts with another session that you want to attend, is to reach out either to the SCO help desk or on that Google form about, hey, I need follow-up support. And then Dan and I can make sure that we get you in touch with the right person, whether that's the presenter or the facilitator, or if it's the best fit for you to be able to attend the session next week. We'll make sure that we get your needs met. So that's the best way to do it. But we don't have complete parity between the schedule this week and next week. So it'd be pretty tough to navigate. Oh, I missed this session this week, but I'd like to be able to join next week. They're really two different animals addressing many of the same needs, but at very different times and often in different ways. So the best thing to do is reach out to us and we can connect you with the information, the right people, and the right resources.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Like I said, Sarah and I will hang out for a couple more minutes. So if you do have any specific questions that haven't been answered yet, feel free to stay with us. Otherwise, we will see you at 3 o'clock for the kickoff session. Thank you.
Thank you.